What is grounded theory? Grounded theory is a research method in qualitative studies that helps researchers create a theory based on real-life data. Unlike other research methods where you start with a theory and try to prove it, grounded theory starts with observations, experiences, or stories from people, and the theory emerges from what you find. This approach was first developed by Barney Glaser and Anselm Strauss in 1967. They wanted a way to study social behavior and processes without relying on pre-existing theories. The key idea is that the data itself shapes the theory, rather than trying to fit the data into what we already think we know. For example, you want to understand why teenagers spend hours playing a certain video game. You don't start by assuming it's because of addiction or peer pressure. Instead, you watch how they play, ask them about their experiences, and notice patterns in their behavior. Over time, you may discover a pattern, such as teenagers play to escape stress and connect with friends, which becomes the basis for a new theory. When should you use grounded theory? Grounded theory is very useful when you are exploring a topic that is new or not well understood. It is especially helpful for students and beginner researchers, because it provides a flexible structure to work with real-world experiences. It works best in situations where current theories are missing, incomplete, or do not fit the current context. For example, a company wants to understand why people stop using a new app. Since there is no clear explanation, researchers can talk to users, observe their actions, and discover patterns. They might find that users stop using the app because it is confusing, too slow, or lacks features they need. Based on these findings, they can develop a theory. In healthcare, researchers could study how nurses handle stress during night shifts. Existing theories may not fully explain the challenges of working late hours, dealing with emergencies, and managing personal life. Using grounded theory, researchers might find patterns like lack of support from management or difficulty balancing rest and work that explain stress. Final theory in grounded research. The final product of grounded theory is a new explanation or idea about a specific situation, behavior, or process. This explanation is called a middle-range theory, because it focuses on a particular topic instead of trying to explain everything in the world. Think of it like this. A grand theory tries to explain something very broad, like how the entire internet works, while a middle-range theory looks at something smaller, like why people prefer using one social media app over another. Elements of grounded theory. Theoretical sampling. This is the process of choosing participants or data sources based on what the research is showing so far. Instead of randomly picking people, you select those who can provide the most useful information. I am using the following example to show a basic understanding of elements of grounded theory. Why college students skip meals during exam weeks. In this example, you might start by interviewing students in one class, and then focus on students who live alone, as their answers reveal patterns about skipping meals and time management. Theoretical sensitivity. Researchers need to recognize their own experiences and assumptions while interpreting data. This awareness ensures that personal opinions do not overshadow the participants' real experiences. For instance, even if you believe students skip meals because they are lazy, you stay open to hearing that stress, tight schedules, or lack of access to food are the main reasons. Coding. Coding involves breaking down data into smaller pieces and labeling them to capture their meaning. As you analyze interviews, you might label statements like "I forget to eat when I study" as time pressure, and "I only eat snacks because I don't have time for full meals" as convenience eating. These labels help identify patterns in the behavior of students. Core category. This is the main idea that connects all other observations and patterns. After reviewing all interviews, you may find that the central theme is managing stress and time during exams. This core category links all the reasons why students skip meals and becomes the focus of your emerging theory. Memos. Memos are notes where you reflect on your thoughts, insights, and connections while analyzing data. While studying students, you might write, "It seems that students who live alone are more likely to skip meals due to lack of planning. Could peer support reduce this?" These reflections guide further analysis and theory development. Constant comparative analysis. This method involves comparing pieces of data with each other to identify similarities, differences, and patterns. For example, you compare answers from students in different courses or years to see if skipping meals is related to exam pressure or lifestyle habits. This helps refine your categories and ensures the theory is accurate. Theoretical saturation. This happens when collecting more data no longer brings new insights. In the student study, after interviewing many students, you may notice that all responses fit the existing categories of time pressure, stress, and convenience eating. At this point, the data is complete enough to form a grounded theory about why students skip meals during exams. Different approaches to grounded theory. Glaser's approach. Glaser's version focuses on letting the theory appear naturally from the data. It avoids relying on existing books or research too much. Glaser believed that reading widely about a topic can help the researcher notice possibilities, but you should not force old ideas into your study. The theory should be simple, flexible, and able to change as needed. Using our previous example, if students mention skipping meals during exams, the researcher using Glaser's approach would carefully observe all the reasons they mention, like stress, time pressure, or tiredness, without starting with any preset ideas. The theory about why students skip meals grows directly from the students' own experiences. Strauss and Corbin's approach. This approach gives more structure to the research. Strauss and Corbin suggest using organized methods to sort and analyze data while still paying attention to the participants' voices. This version also allows some guidance from previous research, but the main focus is on understanding the data collected. The researcher would collect students' statements about skipping meals and organize them into clear categories such as stress, lack of time, or easy snack habits. They would then connect these categories to see patterns, while also checking what previous studies say about student habits. Constructivist approach. Constructivist grounded theory, mainly by Kathy Charmaz, emphasizes that knowledge is influenced by both the researcher and the participants. It focuses more on ideas and understanding rather than strict explanations. The researcher and participants work together to create meaning. Here, the researcher might notice that some students skip meals because of stress, while others skip meals because of poor planning. The researcher reflects on how their own experiences with exams or eating habits may shape how they interpret the students' stories. Situational approach. Situational analysis adds a wider perspective. It looks at all the factors in a situation, including both humans and non-human elements, like the environment or technology. It also uses mapping techniques to see how all these parts interact. The researcher would examine not just why students skip meals, but also the role of exam schedules, cafeteria availability, online classes, and even study apps. Mapping these factors together helps create a complete picture of the situation. Advantages and disadvantages of grounded theory. Grounded theory is valuable because it does not require a hypothesis at the beginning, allowing researchers to discover ideas directly from real data. It offers flexibility, so the study can follow new directions as patterns emerge, and the multiple stages of coding help refine data into clear and meaningful concepts. Because the method is strongly based on actual experiences and observations, the findings are often practical and closely connected to real situations. However, grounded theory can be time-consuming, especially when dealing with large or complex topics. If the researcher lacks enough background knowledge, important meanings in the data may be missed. And personal bias can influence how data is interpreted. Qualitative data is also harder to analyze than numerical data because it relies on language and meaning, and the results are difficult to repeat exactly since people's views and experiences can change over time.